Near mint condition, the home of collected editions.
That cover's so awesome.
Absolute format is the best way to own this store. Time to empty those wallets and fill those shelves. What's happening, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for my overview of the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man Artist Edition from IDW. So let's go ahead and get started. So much like all of the other IDW Artist Editions, this one does come inside of its own little cardboard protection box. It does come sealed, but I went ahead and removed the plastic so we can take a closer look at it. So, box is just plain. It just shows the ISBN with the retail price right there. Then, of course, nothing on the back. So let's get rid of that and focus on the book. Now, before I get started, I want to give a huge thank you to the folks at IDW for sending us a copy of this artist edition. This one is available in the book market and direct market, or directly through IDW's website if you want to. Now, this is a really big artist edition. If you saw my John Byrne one, you saw how big that was, so let me just show you in comparison to the John Byrne's X-Men Artist Edition, which thank you all that pointed out that this is a reprint of the Artifact Edition as it was known. And of course, compared to the size of something a lot of you are familiar with here on my channel, and that is an omnibus. And we'll be looking at some of the artwork that's in here, also found in the original art. So let's shift the focus back over here with this iconic cover to Amazing Spider-Man 316. And of course, this one isn't in color. But let's go ahead and point out the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man Artist Edition there. There you have Venom with the bloody hand. What's he done to poor Spider-Man? Then you have Spidey up here at the top. Todd McFarlane Spider-Man Artist Edition. Marvel and IDW logo down there. And then, of course, Todd McFarlane Spider-Man right there with his signature Marvel logo on the left, and on the right hand side is the IDW logo. Art on board, so no dust jacket, and it does have a flat spine. So we're going to crack this book open. I assume most of you have already read the stories found in here, otherwise you're not going to be flipping through with me because it might spoil some things. So just in case, I don't know if I need to say this or not, but yeah, it might be some minor spoilers for Todd McFarlane's art or his run on Adjectiveless Spider-Man. So let's go ahead and open this up. Oh, I forgot to talk about the little box down there with that creepy Venom smile. Alright, let's go ahead and crack this sucker open. Here we have the end sheets right there with the big fight against the Hulk, where we'll see the Cosmic Spidey saga. And you have Todd McFarlane Spider-Man Artist Edition right there, printed in this thick matte paper. IDW, and then Marvel stuff. Special thanks to some of these folks, including Todd McFarlane, or some of the people that work for Todd McFarlane, and then, of course, people that own the pieces of art. And then all art by Todd McFarlane, unless otherwise noted. Scripts by David Michelinie, and then lettering by Rick Parker. So I love the fact that they do credit the letterers. And then when we get to Spider-Man itself, it's stories and art by Todd McFarlane. And then Rick Parker, the lettering, unless noted by someone else. So sometimes the inks are by somebody else. And there is a note down here. It's really interesting. Issues 1 through 9 and some of 14 were drawn oversized. So maybe what we're looking at here is when we get to the Adjectiveless Spider-Man, we'll see a bigger size of paper used than the Amazing Spider-Man, perhaps. I don't know, it looks like it's got some big framing around here. But let's check it out together. About this edition, Todd McFarlane Spider-Man Artist Edition is part of an ongoing series, one dedicated to showcasing extraordinary artists in a format as special as their work deserves. Oh, yes. So, as always, in case you're new to these artist editions, they tell you, usually with the original piece of art, where the issue is, what number it is. This is, for example, issue 299, what month it came out, and what's the title, which is Amazing Spider-Man. So this one, April of 1988. This is, of course, inked. Some of these were gifted to people, or some of them were signed. Like this is signed by Todd McFarlane, because this is the original art, after all. And this is a very common thing. Like, even people back in the 50s, 40s we're actually using pictures of the New York skyline or the buildings and photocopying them. There's a lot of artists, you'd be surprised, to use that technique. Just because we have computers now in Photoshop doesn't mean that it's the first time artists have taken a shortcut, because I mean, we are talking about monthly issues. You'll see some whiteouts here for correction. Other times it's to also make the character stand out a little bit, like make that artwork or the gun or the webbing pop out a little bit. And speaking of webbing, my goodness, that spaghetti webbing that Todd McFarlane gave Spider-Man during this run. So this is, of course, from issue 300, the big fight with Venom. And then we go back to issue 301, where he's wearing the classic blue and red costume. We have Silver Sable, the Prowler, which to a lot of us was him just getting ready for Spawn eventually. Just love drawing those capes. I love the way he drew the Prowler. Look at that spaghetti webbing, the framing. This is more and more you're going to start seeing McFarlane just shape up to what you're probably used to him drawing comics like. I'm going to skip a bunch because otherwise we're going to be focusing on each single page, and he wants that. This is the return of Venom, because this was my childhood. This was my Spider-Man as I was reading. Like, the Roger Stern run is my favorite, but David Michelinie's run and Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man was my childhood Spider-Man. It was when I first started, following the artist, and then, of course, getting those single issues. Because I wasn't really getting Spider-Man in single issues at the time. I was mainly just an X-Men guy, and X-Men also involved, of course, New Mutants and X-Factor and Wolverine. And then I'm like, why do I need another title? But then there were certain runs. There was that Mark Grunwald Captain America, Uncle Rogers Avengers, and then this. Oh my gosh. Look at the line work, and I love McFarlane's artwork. I've heard people say, he doesn't draw the prettiest people, or it's hard for him to draw somebody just standing still. That's why he draws these ridiculous, overcomplicated poses for Spider-Man. I don't know. I've always been a fan of his art. And there's Paladin and Silver Sable. This is the Assassin storyline with Sabretooth popping in. Cosmic Spider-Man story with fight against the Hulk. And this is Torment. So issue number 1 right here. So let's talk about this. So this is when Todd McFarlane said, hey, I'm done drawing for other people. I want to draw my own story. So this is where he decided to write and draw his Spider-Man title. So this is all collected in an omnibus called Spider-Man by Todd McFarlane. It's all written by him, the dialogue's by him, and of course the artwork is by him. And my goodness, he was kind of trying to cross the line here. And I think, honestly, issue number 16 with the Juggernaut is what ended up breaking the camel's back, because he just had enough, He wanted to do his own thing, and when they edited that picture of Shatterstar's sword going into Juggernaut's eye, he was done. This is Calypso and the whole Craven story. Oh, yes. I always remember this story when he's sitting there being grossed out by the guy that's eating his donut with ketchup. This is the team up with Wolverine against the Wendigo. And it's the Wendigo really killing... I mean, there were some things that were almost crossing the line here. Like, you've got body parts, and it's not just body parts. It's like kid body parts in that particular issue, if I'm not mistaken. Here's some spread pages for Perception, and then the story with Morbius. This one genuinely cracked me up when they went to the sewers and all the Morlocks started talking to him when he's wearing the black costume. And he says, guys sound like Cookie Monster, like a bunch of Cookie Monsters. But anyway, let's keep going through here. So the fight with Morbius from issues 13 and 14, meaning that we're about to wrap up his era, because issue number 15 was drawn by Eric Larson, and then his last was 16. Wish they had some from 16. And now we're looking at the cover gallery, which is his covers for Amazing Spider-Man, Adjectiveless Spider-Man. Love that cover right there. And then, of course, other Marvel comics like the Marvel Tales, which are reprints. Also a big fan of that cover. Yeah, these right here are reprints of the classic Spider-Man stories. It's a whole X-Men one that he did with Spidey. Yes, right there. Love it. It's one of my favorite covers. And then, of course, no Spider-Man, but the Hulk from issue 340 right there. Ground Zero. And then, little bio on Todd McFarlane and the end sheet right here. So this book retails for $150, and it has 192 pages. Like I mentioned, it is in this big oversized format with thick matte paper. And let's actually look at the binding, because I said it did have a flat spine, and it does have sewn binding. So you can see those spread pages. Whoa, Mary Jane. How's it going? Fold over or lay over well. Now what I wanted to do is show you just how big this book is. So we'll be looking at the first few issues of Torment here, the first few issues of Adjective with Spider-Man, comparing it to the size of the omnibus. Now, of course, we're looking at a colored, finished piece of work here, and then the original piece of art. So you can kind of get the idea of just how much color adds to a picture, and then how much you learn to appreciate the line work and the layout and the framing when it's just black and white, even just inked. So let's look at another size comparison here from issue number 1. And then I do want to look at the perception story right here. Again, the lines, it's the cross hatching, the shadows, compared to the finished colors right here with Wolverine. Of course, I had to show the Wolverine page. I wish he had the ones that, or they had collected the ones that weren't inked by him. They were inked by like Eric Larson and some of his other buddies. This is from issue number 10. So let's look at that one, just to kind of give you an idea how much bigger that is. But that's it. That's all I wanted to show. And as you can see, the framing, maybe they could have made it a little bit bigger, but they wanted to stick it to the size of the actual comic book art. And some of this, like it said at the beginning, was drawn in this oversized comic book art compared to the traditional size. So it looks a lot bigger, and that's probably why they needed this big book in this big format. So the actual size of the paper is bigger than the traditional size that we're using for Amazing Spider-Man. But that's it. That, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this artist edition, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltscomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content and page count and build of this book. Let me know in the comments down below if you have been picking up the artist editions, which ones that are out of print you would love for them to start reprinting, and of course if you're going to pick up any in the future. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to smash that like button and ring that bell for notifications. Everyone stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.